Good morning, good evening, good whatever time you find yourself listening to this recording, and welcome to our first webinar by the Upenyu Confidence Project. My name is Hannah H. Tarindwa. I will be taking you through this webinar of Unfriending Fear. It was our first webinar ever, and it was hosted on the 6th of May this year in 2023. Unfortunately, not everybody who had registered could make it, and we do not. I will explain just now why we do not do live recordings of our sessions. But welcome, and I hope that you can make it to the live session next week on the 13th, Saturday 13th of May at the same time, 3 p.m. East African time. So if you're not in East Africa, please make sure that you check your time. Now, let's begin. Our live sessions of the Upenyu Confidence Project are private because we want people to be as open and as authentic as possible. We will be talking about issues that really touch the core of people. And we really advise that you would get yourself a brand new notebook and take notes. And if you have any questions, please send them via the chat room, YouTube, or you can email us. I'll give you the email at the end of the session. The voice you're listening to is mine, Hannah H. Tarindwa. I am the founder and Chief Expression Officer, the CEO of Upenyu Creativity Consultants. And we operate under the quote by W.E. Henley, which says, "I'm the master of my fate and the captain of my soul." I can help you from a place of personal experience, of knowing things, watching and observing, of research, getting deeper into context, and of learning, because I am always learning from people that I meet. Now, when we did the seminar, the webinar, the first thing we talk about is self-awareness, and we do what is called the I am exercise. And you can do it yourself now, but it is so much fun when we do it as a group. But in this case, you just take your initials, your name, your initials like mine are HT or HHT, and you write the best definition or the best adjective to describe yourself from your personality. So, like I'm known as hilarious or happy, and then T is terrific or tremendous, whichever one that you feel is the best descriptor. And you can do it, even though you missed the first seminar. You can still do it. And because we're talking about fear, we first sat down with our worst fears. I asked the question, what is your worst fear? And I would like you to sit with this thought for a while, even if it means pausing this recording so that you really think about it. Think about what your worst fear is. Where does it come from? And how many times do you think of it per day or per month? Like, if you think about that fear, how many times do you think about it? Not experience it, but just think about it. So, moving on, we're going to talk about what's the definition of fear. And I believe that the definition of fear is that unpleasant feeling which is triggered by the perception of danger, whether that danger is real or imagined. So, you've got 4 pictures right here. When someone is hiding in a box and they're afraid, they could be running away from someone, or they could be imagining something that bad could be happening, and so they put themselves in a box, or they sit in a corner and hide their face. There's some fears which are in our minds and we can't run away from them. We have to just sit, and they dilapidate us. They freeze us, and we don't know what to do. And then you've got those ones, fears that block us from going further, like this one that says no trespassing. It means that fear that you have limits your movement. It could be physical movement sometimes, or it's just emotional, financial, spiritual, whatever sort of movement that you have. And then the 4th picture is where there's other people, external fears. We're afraid of other people. The danger might be real or imagined. So, for example, I give the example of women who walk around with keys in their hands. I do it sometimes when you're walking in a dark place at night, because you just don't know the people on the street what their intentions are. And in this case, looks like that lady is really not trusting those men or young men. So there's types of fears, and we talked about that. The first type we call the healthy fear, and healthy fear can be useful when it allows us to take reasonable, and the word reasonable is very, very important in this case. You take reasonable protective measures. Of course, like locking your door, you can't leave your house door just wide open at night, all times of the day, because you know there's real dangers, right? And even if you have a guard at your gate, the person might sleep, so you still lock your doors. That's reasonable measure, protective measure, or alert you to impending danger. So when you feel your heart is beating, you're afraid, and there's something that's coming, that is healthy fear because it then protects you. It's in your best interest. And then there's the other type of fear, unhealthy fear. And this is when fear becomes unreasonable, so much so that it overwhelms your day to day life. You are stranded in a place, or you are frozen, you can't do anything, you can't go out. And the desire to be safe becomes more than the desire to live. So you are protecting yourself or others so much so that you don't live, right? So you don't drink water from a source that you don't know, even if it's bottled. You are afraid of germs. You're always sanitizing. Please don't get me wrong. It's good to be smart. It's good to sanitize. But if it becomes an obsession, then you can't even greet people. You don't give people hugs because you don't know where they've been. That's sort of unhealthy fear. And avoidance of joy and life in its fullness. So you are so afraid, you don't want to go out, you don't want to meet people because you're afraid people are scary. Ooh. And we did a personal exercise during the live seminar where we told people to write down their fear. And this is very personal, you don't have to share it with anyone, but write down a fear that you yourself don't think of. Oh, my mom might think this, my husband, my wife, my girlfriend, my teacher, whoever. Don't think about what they might think. Think about what you look at it and then say, what's a fear that has become unreasonable in your life? And if it's possible, is it possible to overcome that fear? Just think about it, sit with it yourself. So, write in that notebook that I encourage you to have, just what fear has become unreasonable in your life. Now, we're going to talk about what is the relationship between fear and confidence, because this is a confidence building program. Let's not forget that. Genuine confidence is not the absence of fear, ladies and gentlemen. It's actually the transformed relationship with fear. So when you are confident, it's not necessarily that you are fearless. It's just that you have put fear in its place. You know where fear belongs in your life. Is it healthy? Is it unhealthy? If it's unhealthy, then you have to improve. You have to get better, right? You need to get a doctor or a therapist or a friend, someone, or even yourself sometimes, to transform that relationship with fear, because fear will manifest in different ways. For some people, fear manifests as anger, and then that's why you find people in relationships who beat someone for looking at someone else, just looking, because they have a fear that if this person looks at someone else, then they won't find me desirable. Or it might manifest itself with withdrawal. And like I said, there's some people who just they don't go out, they don't talk. So some of you might say, oh, I'm an introvert, but you might not be an introvert. You're just so afraid. You can't talk because maybe the last time you spoke, someone ridiculed you or made fun of the way you talk. And so now you can't talk. And every time you want to talk, your tongue just won't move. You become numb. And now you have to say, oh, this is why I'm like this. And change that fear um, into a new reaction. Put that fear into a new reaction. And this is exactly what we were talking about. So we spoke about how to unfriend fear, because that's the title of this webinar. Number one, you have to acknowledge it. You have to say, I'm afraid of spiders, or I'm afraid of losing my partner. I'm afraid of being seen as less than other people. I'm afraid of being broke. That's a true fear in my case. I'm afraid of being rich. There are people who are afraid of being rich because they think if I become rich, then other people expect ABCD from me. I know it's weird, but yes, there are people who are afraid to get rich. You might be afraid of thunderstorms, of there's a lot of things we're afraid of, but you need to acknowledge it. If you don't acknowledge it, then of course you won't correct it, you won't face it, or you won't know how to deal with it when it then becomes it you are faced with it, which is the next part, facing your fear. So with all these things, now with the rest of what I'm going to talk about, unfriending fear, it really sometimes depends. But whatever the fear you have, you need to acknowledge it, whatever the fear is. Whether you're going to face it, feel it, or practice it, doesn't matter. But you must know this is my fear because it will manifest itself. The fear of whatever you are afraid of will manifest itself, and sometimes you won't understand why you get angry. Why do you get sad? Why do you get into withdrawal? Because these are the manifestations of fear. So acknowledge it so that when it happens, you know, oh, okay, it's happening, and now this is what I need to do. So when you face it, so for example, I have a fear of going downstairs. So I face it. It doesn't mean that I'm not going to go downstairs because I'm afraid of it. I either choose to walk slower or to hold the rail, but I face it. I have to. Otherwise, I'll never go downstairs or upstairs because I know I'm going to come back down. Then feel it. I read online that sometimes you need to imagine that fear of that you have and try to feel it. What does it make you feel when you have this fear lingering above your head? What does it make you, for example, we could be afraid of a certain person. Feel it. Imagine how you feel. Do you tremble? Do you get angry? Is there a knot in your stomach, a twist in your heart? Do you sweat? Do you break down in what happens? Think about it. Feel that anger and then decide what feeling you're going to attribute your anger to, your fear to. Because fear, when sometimes it can be so lasting. When you're so afraid of something that it can take you weeks, days, for other people, months and years, just avoiding it. And yet, if you imagine how you feel it, you can actually then decide, no, I'm not going to be angry when I feel this fear. I might be sad, and that way I don't hurt anyone in my going through this feeling. And then practice it, which is the best way of unfriending fear. You stop being friends with it. When we say unfriending, we're saying don't hold on to it like it's something dear, right? Look at it and say, hey, but you are a fear. I can get over you. I hate horses, but I'm going to try. I've seen other people riding horses. Why can't I? And then you just do it. I remember the first time I'm in Kenya right now, and the first time I rode a boda boda, because I've been watching people, and I was like, how does that happen? Then I rode a boda boda, and the driver those motorbikes for people who are out there who don't know. It's the motorbikes that carry people around. And when I was on that lift, and the driver was so gentle. He understood, and he said, "This is very safe. It's nice." I was like, "Wow." I did it, I practiced it, and I'm not saying I'm like the queen of Boda Boda now, but at least I've done it and I saw, oh, it's possible, I can do this. Then, but there are steps to unfriending fear. And one of the first ones is to self fortification. Now, when we talk about self fortification at Upenyu Creativity, with regards to Upenyu Confidence Project, we are saying become intentional of your own improvement. Remember, we said acknowledge your fear. If you don't, then you're going to be stuck where you are. Because I know you're listening to this video because probably you are tired of this fear and you want life to move to the next step. Unfortunately, or fortunately, the first part of unfriending fear is knowing who you are. Remember at the beginning of the session, we said we did the I am exercise, and then we asked the question, what is my worst fear? You always have to. Emotional intelligence states that you start with yourself. And we teach that in our Open Confidence program, which I'll speak about later. But you need to also seek out opportunities that help you know yourself fully. Real opportunities, not these motivational 3-minute things you go for 30 minutes and you think you come out. No, you must go through the whole, like a process. For some people, of course, it takes years. For us, we'll give you 12 weeks of it and then have support after. But it's important to be intentional of your own improvement. When you self fortify, because, and we remember we're talking about confidence building. When you're building something, a house, office space, whatever it might be, you need a good builder. And for confidence, the builder has to be you. You are the builder of your own confidence. So seek out opportunities that help you know yourself truly. And then when you do that, you tend to then build and have a firm foundation. Firm foundation to us means you have values. You have to know what are your values, your top three or top five. Then you decide on where you want to end up, and that is what is called a vision. The vision is where you see yourself, like what is when you imagine the most confident, most brave, most free version of yourself. What does that look like? And then after that, you have a mission. Now, the vision is the end game, the mission is the method. How are you going to do it? Are you going to be waking up every day? Are you going to be doing affirmations? All those things. And then the goals are even like smaller missions. So you say by the end of the day, and goals, they have to be SMART, right? If you've heard the acronym SMART, if you haven't, then you definitely need to join the Upenyu Confidence program. And at the end of the day, environment will trump willpower any day. So, yes, you might fortify yourself, and yes, you might have your vision, mission, values, and goals. But if you go back to where you're coming from and they look down upon your improvement, you've done nothing. So you need to then have an environment or have people that hold on to the new habits that you want to start. Because people from your past, they still know some of the failings that you've done. They're going to look down, oh yeah, right. You confident, you see, those are the words. How dare you? Like, why do you now you think you're better than us? What is this? And it's so weird how people don't want other people, especially the ones around them, to improve. It's very sad, but it really does happen. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for listening so far. And I really hope that you can make it to the next webinar where we'll be talking about the disease called shyness. And we'll be going further into this confidence building program. If you have enjoyed this session and you think, whoa, what is Hannah talking about? I really need to join this 12-week program. Please feel free to get in touch with us. And the 12-week confidence building program, you will get access to learning on our Google Classroom platform. We'll teach you how to do that if you have never done it. You'll get personalized opinion journals, but these ones you kind of need to order them and pay for them. They come at a cost, but they've got beautiful material inside. I can't even open that notebook for you, but believe me, it's worth having. It's your personal journal and it will help you along the way. And then being part of the program means you get a well aligned mentor with a person who understands what you want to be more confident in, whether it's you want to be more confident in public speaking, in looking for a job, in becoming the person that makes you happy. We will align you with mentors such as that. We've got a whole system that we use to then get the mentors on board with you. And when you join, you get to choose your accountability partner. So, hey, if it would be better, right, if you came to the program with your friend and then that person becomes your accountability partner, at least you know each other. But hey, there'll still be other people who are also on a mission to build their confidence, and you can make friends with them and choose an accountability partner from that. And it's a really, really low cost. It's 2,000 Kenyan shillings or 300 Rand if you're in Southern Africa, or 30 US dollars if you're in any other region of Africa per month. And this program runs for 12 weeks, which means that's basically 3 months. So you'll be paying those figures per month. I hope that you've really caught on, and I can't wait to see you at the next webinar. If you still have any questions, please feel free to email me at upenyucreativity@gmail.com. Visit our website also, where you can see other things where we provide for speakers, writers, and people in small business. Don't be shy to get in touch. There are forms there. You can write them. I will get them personally direct, and we can start a conversation even on WhatsApp. Our WhatsApp button is there on the website. So, love and light from my heart to yours. Have a great